Hello everyone! First off, let me apologize if I sound weird because I'm just getting over being sick. Happy holidays, right? But I still wanted to go ahead and give you guys a video. This week I wanted to talk about building a daily writing habit. Many of us dream of being able to support ourselves with our writing. I want to be able to live off of my writing one day. And if you treat your writing like your day job, you're going to meet that goal a lot faster. Now, keep in mind that you don't always have to be working on your work in progress. I count things like my website or marketing into my daily habit because those are things that will eventually move me towards being a full-time author. Now, these days can also be spent on things like plotting and character development. So while I do think that you should physically write something every day, it's more about building the daily habit so that one day you will be a full-time writer. So without further ado, here are my 4 tips to building a daily writing habit. Number 1. Pick a time. Whether you're a morning person or a night owl, discovering what time works for you can be key to sticking to your own daily writing habit. But being a morning person in the general sense is a lot different than being a morning person in the creative sense. During the work week, I already wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and I know that I will not be able to produce anything of value at 4:30 in the morning. Part of what makes it easy for me to not go the AM writing route is that I've already found an alternate time where I can do my writing in. So for me, that's a 2 to 3 hour gap that I have between when I get home from work and when my boyfriend Steven gets home from work. I know at this time I'm gonna have the house completely to myself, plus the dogs, and it's just gonna be me and my writing. If, like me, you've already found a time that you like to write in, then don't be afraid to change it up every once in a while. If you already write in the morning, then try writing in the evening, or switch up your locations. Some people produce more work when they're around people, like in a cafe, and I produce more work when I'm alone. But the important thing that you should always do is track your progress and see if you actually are productive at one time versus another time. You could be surprised at how productive you'll be in different spots and at different times. Remember, it's not about whether or not you like waking up early in the morning, it's about finding the most creative time of your day and utilizing it. Number 2, set a goal. If you haven't already been able to tell, I like goals. When I tell myself and others what my goals are, I'm far more likely to reach those goals than if I hadn't. And when I'm writing, I need a defined stopping point where I can feel really good about my productivity for the day and rest easy at night. A lot of writers choose to use word count goals, and they'll sit down and they can't get back up unless they write 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 words, and that works really well for some people. Now, remember, these goals are personal, so you should never compare yourself to someone else unless you're actually trying to improve your process. More on that in just a minute. In any case, it's never a good thing to make yourself feel bad about accomplishing your dreams. So you can share these goals that you set or choose to keep them private, whatever makes you more motivated to accomplish them. You can also pick a number of scenes that you want to complete on any given day. Now, lately, this has been my choice since NaNoWriMo ended. Now I can just focus on moving my story along via scene goals. And to me right now, I'm liking it a lot. This type of goal might be better suited for plotters, as you kind of need to have an idea of what you're going to write about that day before you sit down to write. Since I'm an avid plotter, this goal has worked well for me. Usually, if I know it's going to be a shorter scene, I'll maybe do 2 or 3 scenes a day. Otherwise, I usually stick to just doing 1, maybe 2 scenes a day because my scenes are kind of long. If you have a really precise time that you're going to work in, then you might want to give timed objectives a try. A lot of writers find that they're more productive with the Pomodoro Technique. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with this, you choose a quantifiable amount of time to produce your work without any distractions. After that specified time, you get a break. I tried this method and I did 25 minutes of work followed by 5 minutes of play. And while this method did keep me very focused on my writing, I found that I would actually skip over the breaks and then just keep writing. Even though I didn't continue with this technique, I found that it served as a great writing exercise to keep me focused. I tried the Pomodoro method for a whole month and I really feel that it turned that focus into an actual habit. Number 3, improve your process. Going off the last idea, you should always seek to improve and learn about your own process. If you're already writing 500 words per hour and you feel that you can do better, then find articles, listen to podcasts, read books, do whatever it is that you can do to improve your process. I recently picked up dictation and I found that my words per hour soared. It increased so much. It's not always what I do, but I do it when I can, and I tried something new and found that I really liked it. So one of my ongoing quarterly goals is to read 1 book on the craft of writing every quarter. I do this so I can always be on the lookout for ways that I can improve my own productivity, my writing, or my knowledge on the business of self-publishing. The main thing to take away from this point is this: if you're unhappy with something in your writing, then don't be afraid to take the steps to change it. If you're dissatisfied with something about your writing, then it's going to be so much harder to sit down and write every single day. There's unlimited resources out there, paid and free, that will teach you anything you want to know on any topic you want to know about. Oh, hi Google, nice to meet you. This is an industry where staying on top of the craft is greatly rewarded, and keeping up to date on the ever-changing business could affect your chances at being a full-time writer one day. This next part might be a hard pill to swallow, but you don't know everything. Say it with me, I don't know everything. Listen to those who have trudged through the madness already, and if you're watching this, I know that you already are, or read about the experiences of famous authors and soak it all in. Don't be left behind just because your ego got in the way and you didn't want to learn a thing or two. Number 4, develop a pre-writing routine. This one's not just about picking the right time of day to write, but it's also doing the same things every day leading up to actually writing. This can actually get you in the right mindset to sit down and write, kind of like your bedtime routine. So even though I always write after work, I always take 30 minutes to myself and unwind from the day's madness. I usually take the dogs out, I'll browse the internet, I'll catch up on my social media, read articles, things like that. All the while, I'm mentally preparing for my writing session for the day and then getting rid of all distractions before I actually sit down to write, because I know I'm going to want to check my social media if I didn't squeeze it in before. I always find it's important to stick with mostly what you know. If I'm going to change my routine, I do it gradually and keep most of the elements the same. That way I don't throw my writing out of whack. If you're just starting out with your writing habit, then pick some things that you know you'll like and start with those. If you despise the thought of yoga, then don't force yourself to do it before you write. You're just going to be miserable while you're writing. You can sit down with a cup of coffee or some tea just before writing. You can journal for a few minutes, have a glass of wine, if you're over age, of course, or get inspired by something. If you know you get inspiration flares from people watching, then sit in a place that you can actually people watch. But don't do this while you're writing because it'll be a distraction then. So I want to take the time to acknowledge the spontaneous people in our lives, and this might be one of you. If you don't like having a routine in any aspect of your life, then you should probably ignore everything I just said. But not really, because I think everybody should try new things just to see if they can improve their process. There are some writers who absolutely abhor doing anything. There are some writers who absolutely cringe at the thought of doing the same thing every day. And that's okay. The important thing is you know what type of person you are. Even if you don't sit down at the same time to write every day, try doing one thing that gets you into the writing mood. Remember, to make something a habit, they say that you have to do it longer than 28 days. There may be a transition time with some of these tips, so just make sure that you don't give up on it right away. The earlier you hash out what works for your writing habit, the more productive you're going to be in your career in the long run. What may work for one person might not work for you, but the only way to find out is to experiment. Now that I've pitched to you why exactly you should sit down and write every day, let me clarify what I've said so far. While you should treat your writing like a full-time job now, if that's what you want out of your future, it's okay to take breaks every once in a while. I mean, you earn sick leave at work, right? Then you should earn sick leave at your writing job. Just like your day job though, you should limit how many of these breaks that you can take. I would save these instances for when you really can't help not writing, because life just happens. If your cell phone spazzes out and you have to take it to go get fixed, hey, that happened to me. Or if your dog tries to lick off its own flesh and you have to take it to the vet, that happened too. Or if you're too sick to form a coherent thought, wait a second, that was this week. Then you should probably take a sick day. If you want to be a full-time writer one day, then start acting like one now. And that means taking the time every day to work toward that goal. Alright, that's all I have for you guys today. I post new writing videos every Wednesday, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you ever have any writing questions or any suggestions for my new videos, make sure to tweet me at Vivien Reis. Bye guys.